Alrighty. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Thai Core. No, that's not the right word for it at all. It's the Airlock Podcast with, once again, technical freaking difficulties. Why? Why does this Stream Deck never work the way I wanted? Come on, there we go. Finally. I apologize, folks. One day there will be one day on this stream, for those of you watching live, there will be one day where there will not be a technical difficulty. Whatever that day is, I hope to see it soon. As I was saying, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Airlock Podcast. I am your host, Captain LegionX of Thunder Squadron for the Emperor's Hammer Thai Core. Got a few things to announce before we begin tonight's show. First and foremost, a security announcement for those of you in the EH, along in all of EH branches, not just the Thai Corps, but the Dark Brotherhood, the Hammer's Fist, all of them, every single one of them. Be advised that the hacking debacle that we were having an issue with, one of our fleet admirals, Fleet Admiral Miles, was attacked by a hacker. It has been dealt with. However, his account was not the only one to have been attacked and infected. Several others as well. Lieutenant Eisling was another known one, and there could be more. We ask that for everybody who is in the Emperor's Hammer to please do not click any links, especially if they're asking, if said person is just asking you to help them with something, which seems to be their MO. If they ask you to do something and then send you a weird link, do not, I repeat, do not click that link. Ban them, block them immediately. And I am already seeing it in chat. For those of you watching live, the funny guys. Hijacker. Anyway, yes. But yes, for those of you, we believe that the situation has now been finally contained, at least with Fleet Admiral Miles's account. We're not sure of the others yet, but yeah, please be sure, if anybody does ask you to help with something and sends you a weird link, do not click it under any circumstances. But on with tonight's show. Today I have with me Major Adam Frozen Wietu. I forgot to ask him how to pronounce his last name. I apologize. Commander of Rogue Squadron, who is here on behalf of the decision of Colonel Genie of Lambda last 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. Reason why we couldn't host a show last week. My schedule was 100% swamped. There was no way I could get in a podcast in. Yeah, so I have him with us tonight. Another announcement I need to make before we start. Several positions are once again open for the podcast team. It's currently the unofficial podcast team until I can get it official. First and foremost, out of any position, I need editors. More than one at this point, because though we do have a lead editor, he is now currently off, or needs to take time off, which leaves us without an editor. So any editors who want to step up and become part of the podcast team and help edit these videos down so that we can put them into our YouTube channel, please DM me, email me, however you want to do that. Just go ahead and message me whenever, if you are interested in that. But yeah, let's go ahead and unmute and undeafen ourselves in the call. He should be able to hear us by now. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Major Frozen. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, mateys.
Hey.
Man, I'm great.
Hey, so I forgot to ask, because I'm a dum-dum as always, how do you pronounce that last name? Is it Wietu or Wietu?
Oh, Wietu. It's
Wietu.
just,
Wow, okay.
dude, it is just take my real life name and make it seem a little bit Star Wars.
Gotcha. Yeah, I should have asked. I was like, I did it, and now I'm gonna look like a fool for asking. But anyway, yeah. Welcome to the show. This is actually kind of awkward because for those of you who are watching live right now, and for those of you watching, we just currently had our Tequila Cup match. And
A little while ago, yeah.
yeah, against with our teams, Inferno versus the Jolly Rogers. We tied one apiece, and
Good games.
yeah, very good games, very extremely good games. I've actually broken a sweat, not even joking.
I got to watch while I was waiting for this to get going. I did get to watch the first map, which I had been. I got back home so shortly before it kicked off, and the plan was that I was going to come in the second map. That I was actually doing warm up activities during the game, and so I didn't know how it was going until. Yeah. So
I forgot what the first map was. It was the was it Sisabo, the graveyard, the Star Destroyer graveyard. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I saw.
That seems right. I think.
I just remember I was chasing a couple of people, and I forgot who it was exactly. It may have been Vapin. It could have been Osis as well. Someone crashed into debris. It's like, ooh, that is going to hurt. That is definitely going to hurt. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. I finally got to play a match after all this time due to work.
Awesome.
Yeah, due to work completely destroying my schedule. But yeah, I was actually happy to finally join, and yeah, it was fun. We finally took down your winning streak, at least by one match.
I mean, as I had delegated. I hoped. I mean, it worked out this way. I delegated and hoped that Van Man would take on the actual captaining work, and I asked Fame Plane if he would basically be our coach, and I would serve as like an assistant coach. Just like larger morale and team camaraderie, and just sharing things, right? So it's been pretty cool. I'm glad they've been doing such great jobs. From my seat in the assistant coach spot, I was like, I was hopeful, like, how long can we maybe go? No, could we? Maybe. And no, now we can get back to reality. So no longer undefeated.
Yeah, no, I was actually worried because out of all the teams, this was the team that I was worried of the most, simply because, and this is out of respect for Osis, because I've never actually played against him properly in a 3v3 or even a 1v1 PK, so I didn't know his style other than the time trials when he participated in, and that's not really a true PK event. That's just me just running away. But I was mostly afraid for you, Vapin, and Fame Plane, because I've seen all of you in action before firsthand.
Well, let me make sure to give Osis his compliments. Is that
yes,
he I asked everybody in our squad who would like to be on the roster, and I was prepared that if we'd had one more person actually that was willing, I was going to actually submit 2 teams and take the route of, okay, we're going to use this entirely as like a culture building activity regardless of wins or losses. But the way it played out is we had exactly like 6 people that were available and interested. Of course, Davalorn was very interested, but he was very much not available with the recent birth of his 3rd child.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's back now, but he's not on the roster. So we had 6, right? And I also did like a survey with everybody in the group to basically ask if what were people's feelings. What was the goal, right? Like, did we want to lean more heavily to let's try to win the damn thing, or did we want to lean more heavily to let's build a team? And I was super surprised and just loved every response that I got, because every person that I would consider to be, more on the competitive end actually voted for let's make this a team building opportunity, and everybody that was, more of the casual end voted for let's try to win the damn thing. So I went, you know what? Let's try to win the damn thing.
Exactly. And yeah, I was gonna say, Alexander, if you are watching still listening, yes, no, you took me by surprise. It's like, where was that energy during the time trials? No, I'm kidding.
Putting in the work. That was
Yeah.
the other part of the compliment I wanted to make sure to include, was that he's been putting in the work. He's been there for every one of our weekly practices we've been able to get together, despite that his schedule is very limited for the amount of time, so he does not get to play often. But
Good,
he certainly
yeah.
has been making the most of it.
Good, yeah.
I'm so proud of him and glad to have him.
Good, yeah. I know that feeling 100%, especially with my work schedule. So let's start with you joining the EH. What was your start on that?
Oh, cool. Now this is a fun story for me. So I work in the political sphere, in software particularly, and so in 2020, when Squadrons came out, right? Before it came out, I knew it was coming, and I was like, ooh, day one, I'm gonna be all on it, But of course, it was October 1st, so actually before that day one got there, I completely forgot about it until like January, right?
Right.
And the reason I was so excited was, I was just the right age when the original TIE Fighter came out in early 90s, right? I was like 13, 14, 15, X-Wing and TIE Fighter. So, those were formative games for me. Like, I still actually, I played a lot more FPS, first-person shooters through the years, but my foundation was in flight sims. And so I'm when I play a first-person shooter, I'm one of the rare people that actually plays inverted, because flight sims were first. And so it actually feels more normal to me. So anyway, long story short, at least on that portion, I got Squadrons. I saw it was coming out. I was like just so incredibly excited. It was like finally we're like getting a rebirth of all this, because actually I had missed XVT during my college years. So I like kind of stopped gaming for a while during college years, doing other things, living life and stuff. So I totally missed that XVT had even existed. Did not even know until I got into this organization. So anyway, I get into Squadrons and I'm like, yep, I'm just gonna be great at this. I just finished replaying like TIE Fighter just weeks before, like a little while ago, and got all the Imperial awards and Emperor's Assistant and whatever that all works out as.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be great. It's gonna be no. I got in, it was just stomped, right? Like, oh my god, because I was 3 months behind and new to the game, and it is completely different, right?
Yeah.
The drift mechanics particularly, exactly. It makes such a different thing. So I was playing for like 2 weeks, just getting stomped. It was like, I have got to find an organization, or I'm going to lose the love of this before I improve. So I went looking for, by now, okay, this came out in October, I'm joining late, there's got to be some clubs out there. Who's out there, right? Went searching just into the, the vague open infinity of the Oracle, and I found, actually, like, the longest running clubs, your TRAs, NRNs, others, and EH, right, were among the few that had enough material that, out there on the web that I could find. And so I joined all the servers, and the one that actually had built in, a solid, like, welcoming program and people paying attention and seemed like actual people in activity was this one. So I went, okay, I think I'm going to sign up for this one. And then ironically, right, like the fun part about this, to get to the point, is that I had actually, way back when I was playing TIE Fighter in the early 90s, had been looking for something like this, and it turns out that this had existed. I just was not connected and didn't find the sources and the spaces in order to get connected with this group way back when, or I would have. And so it's a crazy irony to like get in and then find out all the history of this organization and go, well, shoot, I guess now is the right time, but darn it, I did miss out apparently on 27 years.
Yeah, so much was like, why didn't I join sooner? I could have joined so much sooner.
It's good to find a good space boyfriend pew pew club.
So did you start off with Row when you first joined, or was it another?
Yes,
squadron?
I was a stubborn twit about the fact that that it was like so they fly interceptors, right? I've got to like, I've got to fly interceptor.
I mean, interceptor.
I can't have anything else. Yeah, I just can't. No, like, I mean, it's just
interceptor
interceptor
best TIE
fighter.
Fighter.
Yeah. And so I was like, nope. Like every other active squad that had a commander who was out there, engaged in the iWatts channel doing the recruiting was, like it got to the point where they were like, okay, you can keep waiting for Roe. You can keep waiting. That's fine, but you can come join us for a little bit first. And I was like, no, I don't want to like two-time people and end up disappointing anybody. So I ended up sitting in iWatts for something like 6 weeks.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I know a few people that are also in the similar boat, but like when I first joined, I was like, no, I need to go in now, immediately. I didn't.
Yeah, no, but like there was so much activity at that time that like it wasn't limiting too much because I was able to get in and really start playing, in squadrons with the folks in the public channel for actually grouping up and stuff. So I had plenty of games with everybody for those weeks, and was having a good time. So that was good to wait.
Okay. So, what was the road in becoming the commander of Row? When you joined it, and so now you're the commander of it. What happened between that?
Yeah. Okay. There's some complex history that happened, before I got here, so I'm not going to speak to that. I know that there was some turnover. And then I know that it was challenging for say continuity in the organization of the squadron, and so there was definitely a drop off from what Row had been in the year prior, obviously as the TCOM's escort squadron. But that only made me more dedicated to the group, right? It was like, oh wow, yeah, these guys got a lot of history. Okay, yeah, I'd definitely join the right one. And then it was June of last year. The opportunity came live with the former commander of Row. Basically, he'd been through a lot, right? Like like I said, the continuity, he had not been set up for success from what I understand. And he had made the most of it, and he thought, okay, I got it this far. I know there's probably somebody else who could, keep this going, but I deserve a chance to, start fresh. And so he did decide to move and start up the reactivating a squadron, and just putting some seeds into opening a new squadron on the ship. And so the opening was there, and I applied, and I was actually really surprised that I got it.
Yeah, they just.
I mean, like I was at that point I'd been in the group for 4 months because I didn't get solidified into a squad until probably early March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I know that feeling all too well. Just throw it in there, and then all of a sudden you become commander in less than a year.
Yeah.
Not like I would know that.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I blame you, Tiger. No. So yeah, it was just pretty much a smooth transition up to commander. For you?
Yeah, I mean, I was. He did absolutely make sure to to set me up for success, having been in a position where he had not had that, and he stayed communicating with me and helping and really guiding me through like the first good couple of months.
And this was
he was very active in supporting me.
This was the previous commander, Ace TIE Pilot, correct?
Ace TIE Pilot, yeah.
Yeah. I never
really,
actually
really
got
great guy. Really great guy.
I never got a chance to properly meet him. I hope one day I get to. Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on a little bit before we go back to the discussion of the Tequila Cup, because I know we're going to be on there for a while.
Sure.
Have a question for the time trials. I know you participated in season 2 and completely decimated most of the participants there. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, season 2. Second place.
Yes.
What was it? Like we only had maybe 5 days left, and all of a sudden we were like, I'll try it because Wreckage was also doing it at the same time in the same voice
he's
channel.
good, buddy. Yeah, for sure.
He got 49 seconds. They were like, I gotta do this now.
Yeah, why not?
And then he got 44 seconds. So this season, looking at the current records, what are your thoughts on this insanity that's happening?
I absolutely thought that like what I had gotten was like, yeah, I can't imagine anybody getting much faster. I figured like the floor or ceiling or whichever way you want to think about it was like, maybe 38, 39 seconds, and it's been like the time I got's basically been cut in half.
Yeah, I remember those discussions. We were talking right after your attempt in season 2, and we were even talking about like, yeah, it had to be on Yavin, and everybody would have to like know exactly where the spawn points are, know exactly what when to power shunt, and all that. We were all talking about that, and now we're seeing it actually happen in real life. It's like, oh god. Do you think the 20-second record is gonna break?
I mean, I will be acting like an Ewok before the Golden God, and just being absolutely impressed should somebody break the 20-second barrier on that, because I can't even fathom that possibility.
With Kebla already at 21.97, do you think he'll?
It's close, right? Yeah. I mean, from what I understand of Kevla, I mean, it seems like if you present the person with a challenge, then it seems they're gonna keep going. So, who knows? It could happen. I would be just absolutely exhilarated to see something like that be accomplished.
Now, I do know there is a row pilot in this season 3. Not you this time. It's actually Alexander.
Right on.
He's currently, though, at a 1 minute 53.75 seconds. That being said, this was way early on in the competition, so everybody was still trying to get their feet wet. It's like, all right, how exactly do we want to rush into this, and how quickly do we want to rush into this? So I'm sure he's going to attempt another, but did you have any plans, or does anybody else in row have any plans of trying to get their hand in this pie?
How much longer? Forgive me and let me know how much longer that I have.
Oh god, we still have because last season was only for 1 month because I only had the gold wings up for grabs. But now that the platinum wings are up, I had to stretch it out to 4 months. So now we're at
okay.
I think we're at 2.5 months left time. So you have plenty.
Oh yes, I am sure I will jump in at some point. I'll say that working in politics, and we're in another election year. It's the mid cycle, so it's not as intense as the presidential cycle from 2020. But that made me completely forget that this game had even come out.
I'm sure that was a crazy period.
Yeah, it was. So like this year, I do have some extra intensity in the fact that I'm a product manager, and we're actually sunsetting our legacy version, but having to maintain it while completely building from the ground up a new version of our system that's going to give us a lot of advantages. So I'm really running 2 products right now. It hasn't been too crazy so far, but it's starting to show that things are gonna be a little bit crazy for the next couple of months, for sure. And throw that in with basketball season, as I'm an absolutely insano fan for the Memphis Tigers, who had a possibility at the start of the year, could have been in the hunt for the national title, but there were some chemistry issues to start that had to get coached past, and then as soon as they were starting to get past the chemistry issues, then they had a COVID outbreak and missed a couple of good opportunities, like right at a moment where they were like starting to seize what they could be, and so that set them back again. Followed then by they had like just a ridiculous injury bug that hit, and half the roster was depleted for a series of games, so they've had a whole lot of work to do. And after beating number 14 ranked Houston today for the second time, who made the Final Four last year, we have probably salvaged the season, and we'll be able to make to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 8 years, which is a huge sadness on Tiger Pride, because we're in the top 25 for winningest programs all time. I'm pretty sure, if not very close to that. So like I said, I'm a lifelong nut for it. With the blessings I've had the last couple of years, I'm actually a season ticket holder for the first time. So take all of that together, and I apologize that I have not participated in your season 3 yet, and I'm sure that I will soon.
Oh, I was gonna say, you still got plenty of time. Don't worry. I was more surprised at the fact that there was so much activity now. It's usually that's towards the very end of it, which I'm sure I'm still gonna see, and I'm
Sure.
I'm gonna be swarmed with thousands of, hey, are you available? Hey, can you do this?
Right.
Speaking
Right. Yeah.
of, during
Let me
yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of, during Tequila Cup, I was already messaged by Kemla saying, "Hey, are you gonna be free tonight in order to do more time trial?" I was like, "Dude, one, you're in the lead. Two, I don't think so. I'm gonna be way too swamped tonight, and I still got work tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see." But it was just like, yeah, I'm still getting swamped by the questions already.
Right. So, okay, I mean, I wanted to for sure compliment you on like such a creative approach for a competition that is actually in game, but
Thank
it's
you.
not just PvP. Like it's I I don't have the same kind of creative mind for these kind of competitions that some commanders have, and it seems that you really do. So, like, props to you. Your squad is going to be in good hands, and
I,
thank you for doing it. Really, like it's a great competition. And also, you're freaking nuts for the amount of activity that you have to do to support the own competitions that you have
hey,
put yourself in charge of. So
so
my compliments there for your fortitude, sir.
so about that, yeah, like, I guess the reason why I get like so creative with these competitions and try to push out all these comps is pretty much like, I don't want to say backwash from my previous crusade of Thunder, which before I became commander, I literally had a personal crusade. It's like it was near dead in Thunder. Like there was no activity, no one was talking. It's like I'm not standing for that. We will get this to work. So I've been trying my damnedest to actually, get them up to where they are, and there's been some bumps with that, but I guess that's where that energy is coming from. It's like all that creativity is just like, all right, how do I get people involved in this? How do I get people involved in that? Is this a viable option for a competition? Is this a viable competition? And so on and so forth. So I guess that's where it comes from, and it seems to be working so far. Everybody's liking it.
Like I said, you're clearly the right person to be, in the position that, even though it happened quickly for you, it's happened well. And I would say that, like, a rebuilding process is a massive undertaking,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that, if you keep committed to it, like I'm now wrapping up a second tour of duty on the 4-month tour of duty expectations,
Hmm.
in the commander position, and it has definitely, within the last 2 months, let's say it took something like 6 months before there was consistent returns that were, noticeable to make me feel good about the journey.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so like, I'm sure it's coming for you soon.
One day, I'm not letting it bog me down. I've gotten to that point. It's like, even if it's a small group that can only get 1.5 flights full, that's that much people that are active at least,
Mhm.
and they're participating and they're talking. And one of the things I'm 100% proud of, all of them right now, is, if anything, the communication. Because, like I said, before I became commander, before I even became the XO of Thunder, communication was almost non-existent.
Hmm.
And
I can recall for my journey exactly the same. Yes,
yeah,
like
and
it was moribund on the communication front within the road channel for a long time.
yeah, and now it's gotten to the point where every single one of them, and they may not be on the Discord channel, but it's still through emails. Every week, I'm getting some sort of talks in with folks in Thunder. So it's like, at last, finally, we got to that point. Now I just steadily got to keep pushing them up to more, which it'll get there.
Good for
One step
you.
at a
Good for
time.
you for paying attention and to the email as well, because my duties in the communication front have been easier in terms of everybody has been much more responsive via Discord. So I have a clear primary communication channel.
Oh, I always leave that up too, but some prefer email faster than Discord. So it's like, hey, whatever works.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
I've just been blessed that I think, with perhaps one exception, that we really have it's a pretty good alignment around a Discord preference.
and hopefully one day I will get that to me. But yeah, it's good to know that your row is also a success story there, and I love it. We definitely take inspiration from that.
I can only describe it as such. But the way I would describe it is that the success is the people who have given it a chance, and all I could do was facilitate the opportunity.
Right, right. Now, want to quickly backpedal here. Going back to college sports, because I noted this,
Okay.
and I needed someone to clarify this. I'm sure you and everybody in Twitch chat, and for those watching the videos whenever they come out, I'm sure all of you have seen the house and lawn decorations where it's like a house divided and it's two sports teams, usually
Sure.
usually rivals of each other.
Sure.
So, like, take my area for example. So, like, it's the Florida Gators usually versus the Seminoles, FSU,
Yeah.
or Georgia or LSU, one of the normal rivals.
Yeah, right.
I drove by this one house and I saw a rock that says a house divided, and it shows University of Florida Gators, and on the other side was the San Francisco 49ers. I literally had to stop my van and going, those two teams will never see each other.
No,
Ever.
they don't seem to get the meme at that household.
Yeah, it's like that's not even in the same league. Like,
No,
what?
somebody's missing the point here. Oh, that's precious.
If someone, it's like if someone can explain to me if there is an explanation for that, how that works, please, by all means, send that to me. But
I got nothing on that, dude.
and I do see in chat, Marenta, I know you say notice me. I am watching chat, and I actually am gonna talk about what you just said earlier in chat, because that's actually my next topic that I want to talk about. What's happening on the
lovely.
Warrior? What's happening on the Warrior? Warcom. For those of you who
Yes.
don't know what Warcom means, the Warrior's Commodore. For those of you who have been keeping in the loop, Hayama Mordecai stepped down of the Commodore position only to take another position in command staff, which now leaves the Commodore position open for, I believe it was anybody.
Yeah, and as it really should be, like, I mean, the ideal situation is to have enough interest broadly within the organization that say any commander position that opens up, it's a positive for the organization to be able to have like a productive, valuable, like open application process for that. Even let's say and admit that someone internal from that squad is most cases going to be preferred.
Right.
It's still like where that's a viable thing to do. It's a valuable activity to be able to gauge like how much interest is there more broadly in the commander position among people who are not currently, right?
Right.
Who's up and coming interest that could be coached and trained, developed and retained for that kind of thing, right? It's hugely valuable. So I would think of the Warrior Commodore position as similar, just clearly a grade up, but I would absolutely expect an open fleet wide process for that.
And yeah, and it was open for everybody. I remember being in that the meeting, the Commanders Plus meeting, where they would talk about, hey, we're gonna go ahead and start opening these up unless anybody has any sort of suggestion or exemption or whatever. There wasn't really, and Pliff went and just go ahead and open it up for all. But I have to ask, on the Warrior, since you're on the Warrior, anybody talking about wanting to take that position openly? Are there talks at all?
I mean, I have seen some discussion about it, and I will say, it's a somewhat sensitive question here, so
Right.
I will say that it seems that for the Warrior commanders that exist right now, such as myself, that life and balance and where people feel that they are best able to serve is in the positions that they have as commander. So there has not been an overt, hey, I'm one of the Warrior commanders already, I would like to upgrade to the Commodore position. So it does seem like we're heading towards the open application process being the right way to go.
Okay.
And who knows.
Now, my other question is, how would you feel about Colonel Marenta being the Warrior Commodore?
I have a great relationship with Marenta, and she is. I mean, just like the dedication for keeping the SPL
Mm-hmm.
going, and the amount of commitment for that, the detail level of work, I mean, yeah, put it this way, when I know there's many discords out there for other groups, right? The
Mm-hmm.
other squads and stuff, right? External things, right? And
Right.
I'm on some of them, but I don't pay attention really to any of them, and it seems like Marenta doesn't miss anything anywhere,
Right. Now,
and it's a stellar contribution broadly to the community.
Now, the only reason why I'm asking it in the way I have is because her herself is making it pretty much the joke that it's never going to happen, according to her. Now, I would love Pliff to prove her wrong and choose her, simply for the meme and for the fact of hey, a warrior needs a commodore. Who else but one of the veterans step up to take that position? Right?
Sure.
But the way she was putting it out, it's like yeah, you may be joking, but like, what if Pliff actually does choose you? I would love to see that. One, simply for the meme. Two, because hey, you deserve more. I mean,
I,
not saying that Inferno isn't doing great with or without her. I'm just saying it's like, bro, I know she was in a different position before and had to go down in rank, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know really where I'm going with this line of questioning, but
I mean, I'll say I know there are other applicants who are also stellar applicants, and so like from the applicants that I know of, and I'm not going to name any further names. This is
mhm,
on you to clean up this from here.
mhm.
I think the other applicants that I'm aware of are also stellar members in different ways. Everybody has different strengths, and any one of the people that I'm aware of that is interested would be someone I'd be proud to have.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And the only reason why I haven't said any other names because I don't know. I don't know any internal discussion in the Warrior, which is probably for the best because you have your community within our community, and honestly, it should be. In my personal opinion, should be someone on the Warrior first before anybody else, unless there was nobody on the Warrior.
And yeah, like I will say that for the commanders of the Warrior, I mean, unless someone has had a change of heart that I have not caught and been aware of, and apologies if so, to my best knowledge at this time, that the commanders on the Warrior are happy as commanders, and their preference would be to stay in the positions that they already have.
Okay. Now, with Mordecai stepping down, did that throw anybody off on a loop? Did that derail anything at all?
Well,
Or
absolutely not. No,
okay.
Mordecai was had all of the right positive attitude, really great leadership qualities, very much fair and balanced minded first, super detail oriented and organized, and great with communications, follow up and follow through. So very solid leadership that really righted what was a messy situation before that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So now let's get back into what we really should be discussing: Tequila Cup. So,
Juicy.
so, like I said, we already had our game Inferno versus Jolly Rogers, and one to one tie. We finally broke the Jolly Rogers winning streak. Um, Now that being said, I want to know your thoughts on all the teams that won you've already gone against. Was there
Okay.
anybody that you were, for lack of a better term, because I can't think of a better word, is there anybody you felt threatened by or worried by, um, when if it was a previous one you've already gone against or another one that you're going to be going after or going against here shortly?
Sure. I'm pulling up the sheets to make sure that I don't misspeak here, but
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah, because I like I said, for Inverter, I can't speak for the whole team, just my own personal opinion. I was 100% worried about going against the Jolly Rogers simply because I knew how Fame Flame, especially, was how he piloted. It's like I am never in my PK build that I usually have for when I play as Empire. I'm never going to be able to catch the sort of drifting he does, and that's what I was more worried about. It seemed not the case this time.
It's no lie that Fame Plane has really just been a blessing that he was, he enjoys getting some casual gaming in along with all of the pro level activity that he does and maintains, and the Twitch casting that he does for a lot of those matches as well.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted something fun and non-sweaty to be a part of, and it just happened that he landed with our group. The blessing there particularly is that he's just a swell guy who wants to like share and coach and teach and help and communicate and do all the right things that aren't necessarily going to come along with somebody that has like pro level skills.
Okay.
So that's it. I mean, it's a huge opportunity that I'm very grateful for, and that he's given us the chance to stick around and become as involved as he is. But we got a solid squad after that too, man. Make no
Yeah.
mistake.
Oh
So,
no. Yeah. 100%.
yeah.
I was just saying, out of all of you, Fadeplay was the one I went
Oh,
up
he's
against the
he's
most.
our ringer. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no mincing words there. Yes, he's an all-star. I
Yeah,
mean,
but he was just the one I went against up the most out of anybody. So it's like he's the
yeah.
one I have more, not history, more experience dealing with. It's like I know with the type of drifting he does, there was no way I was going to be able to get the type of kills I usually get in my PK builds. So and I will admit I had to change tactics. I didn't like it, but at the same time, it worked, and I actually had fun with it. So it's like, I now have a broader variety of roles I can do now. This seems
And
fun.
that does call back that like one of the most awesome things that came out of the first Chuck Gilly Cup in 3v3 deathmatch mode, right? Like is that there were a whole lot of creative and interesting strategies that emerged for different combinations in different matches, and that all became knowledge that was able to be shared among the organization at large, really.
Yeah.
So like our team, we definitely changed what is our core strategy when we went up against the Kansas City Cheeks, for example. We expected that they were going to be unorthodox and PK heavy, and fortunately for us, that was a tough match. I was very surprised that we got both of those points. I was absolutely surprised by that result, and I can fully credit like Fame playing in the role as coach, suggesting that we go unorthodox ourselves, and basically run a two flex one bomber approach for both maps to try and counter the PK pressure while also maintaining enough, shoot the big ships action. And we were very fortunate. I mean, those matches were base races both times.
So far, the ones that really got you worried the most was Kansas City Chiefs.
So far, yeah.
Okay.
And then I was also very concerned about your group, and I was particularly concerned about the Wookiee Mistakes Epsilon team for good reason, especially with them able to add Wookiee 9C to their club. That's no
Yeah.
joke there. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to like schedule that one, and I'm concerned that it just may end up being like a forfeit situation because we just there were several opportunities, and sometimes things just don't work out when you have these long running events, and our match there may end up falling into that category, which is disappointing.
Oh.
That was I will say that team was the one I was most worried about, like yeah, just to be honest. And Kansas City Cheeks was probably second, and I think after that, there's, I mean, pretty much every group that's in this has a solid chance to do very well. So,
Well, of course. Yeah.
and then I think your group was definitely on my list as one that I wondered how we would do there. So,
Yeah.
let's just say like I'm probably the person most surprised that we were coming in today with 4 wins, 0 losses.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody was expecting the role that I was playing at this match, which I won't really divulge too much. You just got to watch the previous matches. But yeah, no one was expecting the type of role I was playing because usually when I'm in an Empire, I just go straight PK. Like I have this, I guess, flaw, lack of a better term, that if I stay in one role, I stay in one role. I don't
I can
change.
sure fall into that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't change, and it's a bad habit, especially like if I'm PK all the time, but what we really need is objective. So, it's like I'm too focused on. It's like I gotta kill the other team. I gotta kill the other team. It's like no, we need objective. It's like no, I need to kill the other team. That's I guess my flaw. So when I was I had some help learning how to do this other role. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do great at all. I'm gonna probably be the reason why we lose. And then we won the first game, and I was like, oh, I think I got the hang of this.
I have seen that your Ion runs were very effective.
Yeah, and
that is it's a critical role, like it really is.
And yeah, it was not something one I never would even consider doing, and two, when they were teaching me how to do it, I apparently picked it up so quickly. They were like, okay, you got it. We don't need to explain it any further. I'm like, oh, really? I didn't know I was doing it right. Usually,
you are now a flex. Congratulations.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So it was like, oh, okay. I guess I am. That's it. Apparently,
yeah, I got into it somewhat similarly. That I noticed, like when we were as an organization participating more in the competitions, like through last summer and fall, that we had evolved really well from say just like PK only to more of an objective focus. And the next evolution seemed to be that we were actually missing someone that was focused on the flex roll and the ion damage, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take that on. That is what people will see me do mostly, but that gets back to the Kansas City Cheeks match that we realized we were going to need to shuffle things around and put some surprises out there. So where they expected that I would be in just the straight ion focus, typical flex. I actually had more of a PK heavy flex with ion missiles and concussion missiles instead of the torpedo. So it was a fun game of chess and surprises on who's doing what. And well played to your squad today that you guys absolutely got us surprised on the planning, in that would have expected you on objective and Silwar on PK, and that was not what we saw at all.
No,
so,
actually, yeah.
Compliments to the flexibility and development within your group there.
Yep, well, appreciate it. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even have an opportunity to use my NR builds. NR, for those of you who don't play Star Wars Squadrons, New Republic, the Rebels. Yeah.
Boo, Rebels, boo.
I just had to make sure I had to explain all these abbreviations, because the Grand Admiral was, I remember first episode was like, yeah, we used a lot of abbreviations. You need to explain each and every single one of them. Make sure everybody gets it.
Gotta be careful about getting too jargoned within and limiting your audience. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's like hey, we got over 900 LOCs and something. It's like, what the heck is an LOC? Oh, right.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, Legion of Combats is this medal we get.
Or player versus player combat, and having a win in those events that you can take a screenshot of.
Yeah.
And share for little pretend medals that go on your pretend uniform, and it's very lovely.
Yeah, it's fun. I actually enjoy collecting all the medals I can possibly get. I'm still trying my absolute damnedest to get a silver star, because it's like cool, I got bronze star, now I need to get a silver star, and then
it's
work my way
very difficult to do. You're talking month to month on a silver star, right?
Yeah, but
it's very, very difficult from the commander position with the amount of administrative responsibilities that come with the role. It's very difficult to pull off both.
It is, but I think I figured out a way to do it. At least for this month. It's definitely gonna be heavy towards the single player missions, now that I finally got that battle launcher working on my PC.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah, congratulations! Yeah, you could do that way. That's for me and my tastes, and this is nothing against anyone else and their tastes. Of course, we all have our preferences. I could not imagine ever spamming Star Conflict again in my life after trying that for a while.
Oh god, no. I haven't even tried Star Conflict yet, otherwise known as Spam Conflict, and
I mean, depending on it can be made very like, and for those not tuned into the jargon here, like you can take an approach with the Star Conflict game where the matches end up being about 3 minutes on average. So for me, it was just like I just got here and it's over, and I just got here and it's over and over again.
And it's
And,
gone.
by limiting what level of ship that your group is flying in,
Right.
you can kind of rig it a little bit that way, and I'm generally not a fan of those approaches. Period. So.
Yeah. Now that's
But
not.
again, it's available. And that's just me and my personal take. I'm not speaking. Let me be strong that that's just my opinion and my preferences. I like things for the challenge, particularly. That's why I play games, even though like
Right.
I'm not that great, never will be. I only like I did not come naturally with the hand-eye coordination to be really good at these things. I have just spent so much time doing them for so long that I developed enough hand-eye coordination over time to be at least decent, I guess, you know.
Right.
And I will say that, like, you know, it paid off in a real life way from having invested the time in that like back when I was running restaurants and had to take shifts in the kitchen. There was one night on a Friday where I was in the lead position in the kitchen, coordinating everything coming off, you know, fresh and hot for all the plates moving through really fast, because a high volume full service restaurant with really quality food. And my job in that role, part of it was, taking care of the fresh hot fries, because we weren't going to serve any fries that were not like fresh and hot, like absolutely every time. So if you're the coordinator and you're the last one saying like this plate's ready to go, this plate's ready to go, then it is then your job to be in charge of the fries, right? So I'm, back and forth. I'm looking at the board. I'm moving things around. I'm putting things on plates. I'm shaking the fry basket, back and forth over and over again. And one of the times I looked back to shake the fry basket, I moved it just right that I saw this large glob of grease just like flying up. And in that moment, I could tell it was coming exactly at my eye in that split second, and I was able to move just enough that it hit me on the nose instead. So I actually credit my video game playing and obsession, and the fact that how much that improved my hand-eye coordination, for the fact that I still have the best vision that God allowed me in both of my eyes.
Reflexes of a Jedi, yes.
Yeah. That's the one time in my life that I actually felt like Jedi reflexes, was in that moment, but praise the maker that it was.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, I'm already seeing in the Twitch chat, Marenta saying he's a liar. He's one of the best shield strippers that I've ever played with. I don't know if she's talking about you or Silwar, who said earlier about nobody expecting him to be on objective.
Well, if it's me and I'm the shield stripper, then somebody's going to need to be throwing some dollar bills here. So let's be real.
Oh, he got you there. Oh, yep, she was talking about you. So where are those dollar bills?
Pay up, come on.
So I'm sorry. There was a team that you said that you haven't scheduled a match with yet.
Yeah, Wookiee mistakes from the first run. We had a bye in the first session for that would have been the end of January through second week of February. So we didn't have one there. And then our second match was supposed to be against the Wookiee mistakes, and we have yet to be able to line up a coordinated time that's worked out from their side. I mean, to be like we have been present and available for at least a couple commitments that were made, and they have not worked out as yet.
Oof. Yeah, I am hoping that you do get that, because I'd hate to see any of the matches come into a forfeit because of scheduling. I'm sure GD and Silvar can help both your teams work something out at some point.
I would be I would be grateful for that, but the person that I would just make sure that help goes to Van Man. As our captain, who did step up to take the responsibilities there, and I will say he has definitely done the work. So and it's not anybody's fault. They have a smaller roster, and one of the players is not on the continent with most of the players that are on for the rosters for ourselves and them. So it was going to be a challenge regardless.
Yeah, and as I was saying, it won't ever happen. It's got to be. The timing just has to be just precise, and that's what it takes, but especially with an organization that is worldwide. So, And
which is
especially
one of my favorite things about this organization. Really,
yeah, and especially with
it's really
issues,
well
yeah.
yeah.
Especially with the issues going around in the world, because Ukraine, Russia, that whole thing.
Here we are. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. I won't get too much into that. I promise the higher ups we won't go
as
there.
as we should not.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's the Tequila Cup talk. I'm actually excited to hopefully use this new role that I have for the other competitions if they don't schedule me on days I work. Don't stop doing that. But it was still definitely fun. Like I said, out of all the teams that I was looking forward or looking not forward to going against, yours was the one I dreaded the most, simply because it's like I feel like I'm not going to do anything and just get killed constantly. But no, I actually had the most fun out of it. Out of this, I know it was the only one. Point. Yeah, I know it was the only one I had in this competition. But in terms of just Star Wars Squadron games at all, this was one of the most fun I've ever had. So,
right on, man. That makes me really happy to hear.
Yeah. So, this is usually the part of the podcast where I open it up and to open discussion. And you did add a question, so I had to ask: journey in the Star Wars fandom. So, tell me what were your thoughts on going in for that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we as a club, we have spaces for really like everybody. A number of people have read all of the books or many of them. A number of people have watched everything. A number of people have watched everything and read all of the books.
People also make fan fictions, which I am guilty of doing that.
Right. And there's different pathways and different, maybe you came to it at different ages or things, depending on when you were brought into this world, and it's something you have no control of. Like where you came to it and how you got there is, it's a relative question for any of us being in a Star Wars fan organization, which, at its core, that's, mission 1 and mission 2 is, and we also play games. So,
yes.
Right.
So, I was gonna say,
I was curious about your journey, for sure.
My journey in the Star Wars fandom. Oh God, we're going way too back. Oh my God.
Well, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, first time. I honestly want to say, I honestly have memories of seeing the first Star Wars movie, New Hope, before the CGI. Like before they added the CGI. Like I remember having memories of it when Jabba the Hutt wasn't a slime creature. It was like a human in like some sort of fancy, like, I wouldn't say fancy, but like furry coat. Yeah,
that was an outtake. Like that did get scrapped. It existed. You could find that footage. It was the initial plan for Jabba to appear in A New Hope as basically a human in this furry leotard.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I remember having memories of that, but it's just like they were so far back I don't remember.
Yeah,
but,
it was never included in original releases. So what they did was they took what was that original footage that was never used and scrapped, because they decided, you know what, we just don't like that Jabba, so it was never used, and they reintroduced it into the re-releases, and then CGI'd in a slimy, wiggly, moving Jabba, and so that's why you get that funny moment where like Han like steps on his toe or on his tail or something, but it's kind of like actually the screen just kind of like jumps up a little bit, because they like tried to force that introduction of that moment to make a laugh in the way that I think the CGI'd re-releases, like the
squeal.
Scrapping the original, Cantina music just like broke my heart, and like, and particularly in the Jabba's Palace music that got scrapped for that just like so late 90s like pop music kind of like over the top thing instead.
The like, conspiracy theory.
No. Why did you do this?
The whole conspiracy theory of who shot first. Was it Han or Grievous? God, I remember like literally just sitting there. Like that meme where it's I forgot who it was, just staring at, it was SpongeBob staring at like a cup of coffee. It's like, I don't know, nor do I want to know. I just know gunfire happened and that was it.
Yeah.
Han survived is the thing.
I'm fine with either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like who shot first, Han or Grievous? It's like, I don't care. Han survived first. That's what really should be said. But yeah, no, that's as far back as where I guess.
So that's where, I mean, that was where you got started, was like, I guess this is late 90s re-releases then.
Yeah, the movies definitely were the original trilogy movies was where I first started. I have the original tapes got somewhere here. it's hidden away with all the other gems, and ironically enough, kept in some sort of locker with all my old Disney classic movies. This is like, I'm now just realizing I put my Star Wars movies with my Disney movies of old back then. It's like the self foreshadowing I did there. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder if this was the butterfly effect. Anyway, no, what really like that I had just liked the movies then, but I really didn't get big into like the background stories, the lore of Star Wars. I just at the time liked all the gunfights and the starships and the shooting and the lightsabers and whatnot. What really started getting my interest into like the lore of Star Wars was and I know I'm gonna get a lot of people cheering for me here. Knights of the Old Republic 1, when it first released on Xbox, that's when it first got me. It's like it's like I didn't know like how in depth the I guess the past before the original like Star Wars timeline was like, wait, where was Luke in all this? Where was Leia in all this? And I just realized, and then it was like I was starting to learn, it's like, this is way before any of those people's times. It's like I gotta start learning into what is happening over here, and that's when I finally started getting into all like the back lore and all that.
Okay. So you've read books extensively, and what other lore sources have you been drawn to?
Mostly it was the fandom sites and the Wikipedia when they first became available. All of the and I'm gonna get nerded out here in a second. All of those like Star Wars encyclopedias that like it would cut off a portion of a ship and show the insides of it, explaining what they did and what they were, where they were on the ship, like a Star Destroyer. Like, oh, this is where the barracks was. This is where the command deck was. This is where the engines were. Like explaining the insides of a lightsaber. Yeah, those type of books.
Cool. Okay. There was sort of like this packet of like blueprints that could be, like each one. It came in like this little carrying case. Gosh, I hope we still have this somewhere. But it was definitely from like late 80s. At latest had to be before. Like maybe we got those at Disneyland when I took a trip out there when I was like 8 or 9. Maybe that was where we got those. But they weren't with Disney then. But there was the Star Wars crossover with like the rides.
Yeah,
I think had started by then. So I think maybe it was from that gift shop with the initial crossover being
Star
with the
Tours.
rides. Yeah.
Star Tours. Yeah. I was trying to remember the name, but yeah, it was definitely Star Tours before it became more modern for the obvious reason of the new movies coming out.
Yeah, because I'm absolutely sure, looking back, that I did ride Star Tours when I was like 9. So this is
MGM Studios. That's what it was called.
Aging myself clearly. It was back. So this would be if I was 9. That would be 88. So so that was, I'm sure, where we got this little like packet that it was like the sealed little like flip case kind of thing, and inside of it were like a dozen different like expand. You could unfold them, and they were like I don't know, probably like a good 2.5 or 3 feet by 3 feet, with all like the detailed insides. Like I remember sure there was one that was like all the details on a sand crawler. Probably one on the Millennium Falcon. I don't think it had one for a Star Destroyer, so that's really cool.
It was, I think, the Death Star was the one I had, but mind you, this was way after '88 because I was born '88, so this was I want to say like just in mid '90s.
I was in fact guessing that you were just about exactly 10 years younger than me based on the timing of encountering the re-releases.
Okay. Yeah, definitely '88. So I was where was it? Like, I remember somebody asking me in the Star Tours, like, what was my favorite character, and everybody was gonna. Everybody in my family thought I was gonna say Darth Vader because I tended to choose more the villains and the bad guys of all these great superhero super villain movies, because like they always seemed cooler to me. Like Venom in Spider-Man, that was my go-to guy, or God, Red Skull and Captain America. So it's like, okay, so everybody's gonna think I'm gonna choose Darth Vader. No, I chose Boba Fett right off the bat.
It's right on. Yeah, that's a good choice. Solid choice. And history is now bearing fruition for you on that.
Yes, and it was like, I remember reading the comics of how he supposedly survived the Sarlacc pit, and how he becomes Mandalore of the Mandalorian clans. It's like I remember reading those comics and those books, and when they became legends and non-canon, I got so pissed. I'm like, what do you mean? You've just destroyed my entire childhood by saying that's not real anymore. And now, they're coming out with they came out with the Book of Boba Fett. It's like, please tell me how he survives is the same way he survived in the comics. It wasn't exact, but it was.
It's close. There was enough connection. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like everybody can say, "Oh no, Boba Fett died because he got aided by the Sarlacc." I'm like, you have no idea how long you can survive in the Sarlacc, so long as you have an air supply. It's like he's alive, damn it.
You are vindicated officially
God,
now in canon.
I remember I was actually having this legit argument when I was in the Navy. Of all the things to have an argument about with Star Wars in the Navy, because we were that freaking bored. And it got to the point where I was actually grabbing the dude's collar. I'm like, Boba Fett is alive, damn it. Stop saying he's dead. And it's like, I don't know what we were sleep deprived. That's what it was. We were very sleep deprived.
Oh, no way. That doesn't happen. Not in military.
No, not in military at all. But it was like, I was like, I wanted to know, like, why was it I was so freaking, like, adamant on this argument? It's like, oh yeah, I was sleep deprived. I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
And for Boba Fett.
Yes, and for Boba Fett. But yeah, like, I chose Boba Fett as my main character, and everyone looked at me like, why not like the Jedi or the Sith Lord? The one with the space magic and the wizardy stuff. I'm like, and I think the whole meme of like how Mandalorians fight Jedi, is how Jedi block bullets and all that, and the meme was like a Mandalorian walks up with a flamethrower and goes, "Parry this, you filthy casual." And I think I did the similar situation where it's like, yeah, you can't block a flamethrower. And I think that was my exact reasoning.
Redirect this.
Yeah, it's my exact reason. It's like, oh, you block bullets, block a flamethrower. Oh, you block a laser, block a shotgun. Because they had the I forgot what they're called, the needler things that they showed in The Mandalorian. They had those, so it's like, all right. It's like the Mandalorians literally had a counter for almost every Jedi tactic. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna choose them. They're the resourceful ones. They're the ones that learn how to get around a problem. I like them. I want to be them.
and now we know that the reason that they have learned to get around these problems is all for the orphans. And isn't that just a wonderful story?
Yes. I'm seeing everybody hand shot first. Otogota solo. Oh man, dude, quoting Grebo in here. But yeah, no, that's where I pretty much started. And yeah, like I said, KOTOR 1, when it first came out on the Xbox, that's when like I really started delving in head first, not even feet first, head first into the lore of all of the Star Wars universe. And today my parents look at me like, you have all this incredible knowledge and you don't use it? Why? I'm like, what do you mean? I use it all the time.
Yeah, I got the Space Boyfriend Pew Pew Club over here. Like, I'm good. I'm putting it to great use, Mom and Dad. Come on.
Exactly. But yeah, no, people still look at me weird. Like, it's like, wow, you're really into Star Wars. I'm like, and you're really into Twilight. Like, what's the problem? Like, I remember a lot of folks who were like, they were saying how the Twilight vampires were so cool. I'm like, they literally are anything but vampires. They're in the sunlight. That already cancels out the fact that they're vampires, because vampires don't.
I've never watched any of it. All I've heard is that there's some sparkling, and I went,
Yeah.
no thank you.
Yeah, apparently they sparkle. They can survive some sunlight. I'm like, nah. Vampires that I read up in and lived or grew up with with like the culture of monsters. Vampires can't survive any sun. Period. The fact that they're surviving sun, that means they're not vampires to me. Sorry.
Pretty fundamental to the trope of vampire is no sunlight. Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember a lot of people like calling me some sort of like creep or weirdo, like that I knew so much about not just Star Wars but anything pretty much Marvel as well.
Isn't it just amazing how much like geek culture is now the cool thing?
Yeah, and it's like I've finally survived long enough to see the transition where now what I would have been shunned as, I am now like seen as the cool guy about it. I'm like, oh, finally, we can now finally step out of the shadows and show our potential.
Our time has come.
Yes. But yeah, that's pretty much me. And now I'm also writing fan fiction, which another curveball to a lot of people that know me, who know that I hate writing and I hate reading stories like to an extreme sense. And it's like this need to write fiction just came out of the blue, and I just couldn't stop. I haven't been able to stop since. I'm already on my next series after the Valkyrie series that I posted, describing the past of Captain LegionX. It's like, oh god, where did all this come from? And I noticed this all started happening after I joined DH, so it's like y'all have been my greatest inspiration.
Oh, it's just such a terrible influence, apparently.
Oh, apparently so. Like, I've been hanging out with the wrong crowds and blah 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 blah.
Well, I mean, to awaken something like that in you means, you know, you've always had it, so it's great that that you found something that's you know, given you a chance to experience that kind of like creativity pathway. You know, it's super enriching. So good for you, man.
Yeah. And something I saw in the live chat with Marenta. Yes, for those of you who don't know, the Hanswar has been updated. For those of you who don't know what Hanswar is, it's probably best you don't. For those of you who really, really want to know, think 50 Shades of Grey, except it's from two characters in our group. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let your imagination run wild, because I don't know how much detail we want to give out for this.
I am certainly trying to keep my imagination from going anywhere near it.
As I say, ask Marenta. She'll probably give you the link or something. If just know 50 Shades of Grey. That's all I'm saying.
I have seen one, and that was plenty.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all the time I got left for tonight. We've already passed way over the hour. I'm starting to see a pattern with a lot of these podcasts that we seem to be going for an hour. So I think that's the goal time. At first, everybody kept asking me, well, how long do you plan on making these podcasts? I'm like, as long as we have enough talking material, we can go on for ages. So it seems to be the hour seems to be the gold. But before we end, as always, I'm going to now ask you to nominate the next commander to be interrogated. I mean, interviewed.
Oh my. Okay.
Now, what was it? It was a hammer commander that got to warrior, because it was GD that got you. So now you get to choose one of the challenge commanders. And the only problem is we're already running out of them. Because
that's gonna make it easy for me, because I am not the best at keeping up with what everybody else is doing in the who is who's. So give me the cheat sheet.
So let's see which other commanders are left in challenge that we haven't got to. We haven't got to Striker, which is in Firebird. We haven't got to EG, Evil Grid, who's Inferno.
Okay.
But yeah, we've had Hanso, we've had Graf, and obviously there's myself, who has actually been interviewed by Silwar, technically. So yeah, it's either between Striker and Evil Grid. So either Firebird or Inferno.
Okay. All right. So for both Striker and Evil Grin, they are seasoned members of this organization. Neither of whom I've actually had much opportunity to interact with, and I've always been curious to know a bit more about them. So I'll be looking forward to the next one. I'm going to go with a tiebreaker here to flip things back to you, based on kind of where we started. That we'd had this coincidence of people running into each other in Chuckila today. So I'm going to nominate Evil Grin, who was on the team that we faced.
Alrighty, well, you heard it here, folks. Evil Grin of Inferno is next. This will be fun because he's also my team captain, so this is gonna be very, very easy to set up. But there you go, folks. That's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you so much, Frozen, so much for the interview. It has been a great pleasure and honor to be hearing your story about Roe and hearing all the great things you've had to talk about, especially about Shaquille Cup.
You stole my words, because I was definitely going to tell you it was an honor and the pleasure was mine, sir. So be well, and thank you for what you're doing.
Alrighty. I'm just going to go ahead and mute or deafen myself. If you want to stay on the channel, that's fine, so we can talk after. Or if not, that's fine. So I'll catch you later.
All right, so that's the done?
Yeah, that's done. I'll get back to you in a second here.
Cool.
Alrighty, folks, and that's going to be it for me tonight. And, somebody let Evil Grid know. He's next up. We got Inferno next on the chopping block. So, yeah. I was going to say, Marenta, how about you just let EG know? Or I was going to say, one of my team members from Inferno, just let him know. He's next. And I'll go ahead and set that up with him as quickly as I can. But yeah, for those of you who are wondering, yes, the newsreel that's happening right now, Fleet Admiral Miles attacked by hacker. The hacker was quickly defeated by something that I believe we all can agree on, especially since Silwar was the first one to attack him with. Yes, there it is, right there on screen. Ligma. All right. That's gonna be it for us tonight, folks. I will be back whenever I can. We're kind of through a bit of a curveball in my scheduling, so it's getting a little bit difficult to plan these podcasts. But I will be back next time. We'll try to see if it's possible to get Thursday this week, so we can make up for the fact that we couldn't do a podcast last week. Probably not going to be able to because that's too short notice. Who knows? We'll see how next week is. We'll go from there. I will let you know the moment I can, either on my Twitter or in the Discord server, the Chiquila Cantina. Which is again also in the process of being converted into the next podcast studio, where I will have an official podcast team for the Emperor's Hammer Tie Core. So thank you everybody who joined. Again, apologies for those that I couldn't respond to in chat during the podcast. It's very difficult to keep all these windows and screens organized as best as I can. So I will catch you next time. Thank you all so much for stopping on by. I will see you next time. My name is Captain LegionX of Thunder Squadron. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.